Pavan, welcome to a very special cover story interview. We have with us Pavan Varma. He is a politician, columnist, he's the TMC leader. But also why today I'm talking to him is the fact that he is very close to the man of the moment, Prashant Kishor. Pavan has been a close advisor, close friend, and someone who knows what is happening. Also, to add to Pavan's resume, he's also a former diplomat and an author. So, Pavan, welcome to this conversation. And I'm going to first of all, begin with you to reveal a lot of secrets. I'm hoping today you're going to make things a lot of clear for a whole lot of us. And today we have the first interview actually with Pavan after Prashant Kishor's tweet. We will remember that Prashant Kishor had said on May 2nd, he will reveal what he is planning to do post the Congress offer, whether he joins the Congress or not. The Congress, of course, he declined. Now, Prashant Kishor has tweeted this morning, and I'm going to read the tweet and ask Pavan then to explain the tweet to us. Prashant has tweeted that my quest to be a meaningful participant in democracy and help shape pro-people policy led to a 10-year roller coaster ride. As I turn the page, it is time to go to the real masters, the people, to better understand the issues and the path to Jan Suraj, people's good governance. Pavan, that's a hell of a tweet. What does this mean? Does this mean that Prashant is now going to form his own party, go to the people directly instead of strategizing for others?
Well, thank you, Priya, for having me today. It's always a great pleasure to talk to you. I think I can't claim to know Prashant Kishor's mind, but yes, I am someone who's close to him, and we have been, we discuss a lot of things together. So in that sense, you will recall that he had said publicly that on 2nd May, a year after West Bengal, he would indicate what he is planning to do henceforth. And as he had announced on 2nd of May, he has made this tweet. Now, the tweet is very clear. It doesn't really need a very elaborate explanation. What he has said is that for 10 years, he has been involved in what he calls the quest for pro-people democratic functioning in different capacities. As you are aware, that role was primarily in the capacity of a political strategist. And you will agree with me that he has had a spectacular run for qualities which he brings to the table. But he had also said after West Bengal that he would no longer be doing this role of political strategist, and after a year he would announce what he plans to do. Now, if you put everything in context, today what he has said is, and the key takeaway from here is, that he is going to the people directly. In other words, he calls them the real masters. The people decide political choices and who they will elect. And now, instead of any intermediary, he, in his own right, will be directly interacting with the people, but with a purpose, on how to find the right level of pro-people good governance policies, which he calls Jan Suraj, good governance for the people. Suraj is good governance. So that he is going to be working on, and he has at the end said that the beginning is being made in Bihar.
He's already made a beginning, Pavan. He tried that earlier. He had his own group of people, youngsters. And then later on, he's saying this is not a political think tank. It's a pro-youth movement. Is he going to do something like that, or will he actually fight an election directly?
No, I cannot go beyond what the tweet says. And Priya, you will understand it. From my long experience as being the official spokesman of the Ministry of External Affairs, to press secretary to two presidents of
I said
India.
former diplomat, current politician. Now, being a politician,
And
you have to stop being diplomatic.
in Parliament, in the Raj Sabha and outside as the national spokesperson of and general secretary of the JD, we have a tweet before us. We can analyze that because to speculate on what happens beyond is, I think, not appropriate, and Prashant would
I
know best.
suspect I'm talking to someone who helped frame the tweet, but we're
No,
not going to.
it's entirely Prashant's doing, but he was very clear that now he must interact, engage, revert back to the people of India, not as a political strategist to help somebody win an election in a specific time frame, but in his own right. But he clearly says, Priya, and this is important, for a purpose, and that purpose is Jan Swaraj. He believes, I think, and he would be the best person to explain this, that what the people need in this country is pro people good governance, which ensures that the fruits of economic development, uh, the uh, the fruits of a democratic polity go directly to the people, and he will be in his own small way beginning this process. Now, if you ask me personally, and again, I can be corrected by Prashant because he is the master of that tweet. Uh, that means that he is no longer the political strategist, but is someone who has stepped into the political arena in order to, in his own capacity, interact with the people, the very uh, uh, the pillars of any democratic system.
So help me analyze, Pavan. Let's just take now. Prashant Kishor has been accused of a man without ideology. As a strategist, they said he's worked with BJP, he's worked with Nitish Kumar, he's worked with the TRS, TMC, etc. Now, I assume, being a participant himself, he has to stand for something. He has to have his own ideology. Can we assume that Prashant Kishor will be anti-BJP, or he will be, or he's ready to do business with BJP also,
Uh,
as a
I think,
individual of
Priya,
man?
your answer needs to be answered in the following way. To begin with, it's in the public realm that he was involved in the campaign of Mr. Narendra Modi in his journey towards becoming the Prime Minister of the country. But it is also in the public realm that in 2014, after Prime Minister Modi came to power, he has not associated himself in the many elections that he has been involved in with the BJP. In fact, he has only associated himself with parties who are democratically opposed to the BJP. Starting from Bihar, where he helped form the so-called Mahagathbandhan and took on the BJP. To every other state that followed, from Delhi, Arvind Kejriwal's AAP, to Amrinder Singh in Punjab, to Mamta Banerjee in West Bengal, to Stalin in DMK, to Jagan Reddy in Andhra Pradesh, and now I'm told the organization he has created but has no formal link with it called IPAC will be working with KCR in Telangana. So he has been for now the best part of almost a decade associated with politics in his earlier capacity as strategic consultant. He even worked with the Congress in UP. He has been associated uh, with a political spectrum that is opposed to them.
I think Prashant doesn't have a party, but he has a goodwill. He has contacts with, as you have pointed out, a lot of non-BJP, anti-BJP parties. So do we see Prashant Kishor actually putting together a sort of a UPA? Because he's also said that the UPA needs to be reinvented. Is that what he may try and do? Just
I
think as
think
a...
you're, I think Priya, you're going a little too ahead. Right now,
Uh,
let us judge it for what it is. Prashant hails from Bihar. You are right that an earlier experience with the JDU was abortive for reasons which we can discuss some other day in another program. In fact, as you are also perhaps aware, Prashant Kishor and I were expelled on the same day by the same letter for our by the JDU for our opposition to the CAA NRC. So that was an experience which he had. It was short lived, after which he has not been back to Bihar. But now he has gone back to Bihar and is, as he says in his tweet, will now be going to what he calls his real masters, the people. And when he says the people, please note that he's saying he's beginning in Bihar, but is not limited to Bihar.
Exactly. So it's not national, state level. It's not chief ministerial level. He has a bigger ambition, a bigger plan, or whatever you want to call it. Which means, and he's always said, my focus is 2024 Lok Sabha. So if you put all this together, he's also said it takes 10 years to, or more than that, to get a national party on its feet. So given the fact he doesn't have 10 years, given the fact he doesn't have a national party, but he has national ambitions, do we see him bringing together the UPA?
Now, there are political parties which are opposed to the BJP, and they are fairly sizable. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, and I stand to be corrected, the BJP, in spite of two terms with absolute majority, first and a second term, which is still on, uh, its writ does not run beyond 49% of this country. It won by 31% and 38% vote respectively in 2014 and 2019. So there is a constituency, a large constituency. I accept that it may be fragmented, and I accept that currently it is not working at optimum levels in a cohesive strategy at the pan India level. But there are parties, and I don't need to name them for you, whether it's in West Bengal or in Orissa or in Telangana or in Andhra or in Tamil Nadu or in Kerala, who are uh, who bring close to some 150, 170 seats. So now in the future, and I'm not saying this is what Prashant Kishor is saying in his tweet, in democratic functioning, there is the possibility that perhaps these parties will come together to forge a more cohesive strategy where they complement each other's strength and also have a pan Indian outlook.
And the catalyst to bring them all together and bring this is Prashant Kishor.
He has never claimed it. But
That's
I
what
can
he
say,
he is best placed to be it,
that he
right?
has a good relationship, from what I know, with, for instance, Mamta Banerjee in West Bengal, with Stalin in Tamil Nadu, with Jagan in Andhra, with KCR now for the forthcoming elections in Telangana. So it's not he has good relations with, but I don't think he has arrogated or assumed to himself the role of a catalyst. Each of these people whom I have named are big leaders in their own right, running their own governments in their states. But that is something of the future about which I cannot comment now.
But Pawan, it all comes down to getting together, bringing the UPA on board, or him getting like-minded parties together. Because as we discussed, it's too fast and too early. He doesn't have the time to put his own party in place. Was this the reason why the Congress also hesitated to tie hands with him?
No, no, the reason why it broke with the Congress, and I think we need to understand that. First of all, both sides came to the discussion with the best of intentions and transparent sincerity. Mrs.
I
Sonia
interrupt.
Gandhi.
My question was actually that Congress's focus was to get the Congress on its feet, beginning with the state elections. But Prashant Kishor's focus was to get the UPA on its feet, which means the Congress should not fight all the seats. It should give away seats to allies who are better placed, but just bring in the bulk of numbers to
No,
bring a
no,
non-BJP
I
government
think
to power.
that you cannot speak of a UPA with a redundant Congress. So I don't think the two things are unconnected. He had come to the Congress with a desire to see if the party, as the party seemed to indicate, at a level no less than the Congress president, Mrs. Sonia Gandhi, to see if the party can be revitalized, become a better fighting instrument electorally. That was the aim. So talks were held with a fair amount of transparency and sincerity. As you know, these talks were held in the full glare of the media and went on for days with hours spent. Now, if they did not fructify, there are versions which the Congress party has. Prashant has clarified it publicly now that he felt that the instrument created, the special purpose vehicle, was an ad hoc group, the Empowered Action Group, which was not part of the Congress party's inner constitutionally mandated structures, like the Parliamentary Board or the CWC, the Congress Working Committee. And he felt that such an instrument, such a vehicle, for the wide reaching changes that were envisaged by both sides, would be inadequate. So the parting was amicable. The Congress uh, appreciated his effort and he thanked the Congress for its generous office offer. And he
Generous
said,
was an
I'm fine.
afterthought. He did one tweet
Sorry?
saying offer, and then he did another tweet saying generous offer.
No, no, generous offer in the sense that as far as the Congress thought, and which in itself, if you look at it objectively, Priya, for the Congress party, the oldest party in the country, the mother of all political parties in India, to give Prashant, who is not even a member of the party, a position in an specially set up empowered action group. Perhaps for them it was a big step. For Prashant, he believed that such a body is not the best vehicle to carry out the transformational change, as he put it in his tweet. You know, the
Yeah.
to tackle the deep rooted structural problems. So he felt it's not enough, so it's fine. They parted. Now, having done so, with the Congress for the moment behind us, for a year's experience after West Bengal, where I think he has spent considerable time and effort thinking of evaluating his own experiences, of analysis, of contemplation. He has, as publicly announced, come out with his plan for the future, which at this stage, the key takeaway is that he, in his own right, is going directly to the people.
But directly to the people means only one thing, that he's going to be fighting elections, right?
He could be,
He's not
and
starting
I'm
an
not.
NGO, is he?
No, no, no. As I said, I don't want to overread it, but you're right. If you are going to the people to to further probe people's good governance democracy, then that option cannot be ruled out. But for the moment, in a sense, with all the experience that he has acquired, he is testing the waters to see, because ultimately, policy, governance uh, must be influenced by the priorities of the people. It's not as if you impose on them your priorities for a short term political agenda. You have to work ultimately for transformative politics, where you create for the common man who has voted you to power the kind of polity that is most responsive to his or her needs.
This is what Prashant Kishor may think, but as a layperson, you read this tweet. What is your feeling? He's going to join politics. Let's see what Pavan Varma's reaction to the tweet is.
No, I neither say he is nor do I rule it out. He is an independent agent, and he has said he will not be doing any more the very successful stretch he had as a political strategist. He has further said that from now onwards he is going to his real masters, the people. The inferences for you to draw.
I want to come back to the Congress question once, Pavan. Does it seem, now again, I want to ask Pavan Varma, not what Prashant Kishor may or may not feel. The fact that the Congress offers, they listen to his whole plan, then they offer him a position as a member of a committee, which again, as you said, is empowered but not empowered enough to actually do all the changes that are needed to be changed. So then do you feel that the Congress was actually looking for a fall guy to blame him for whatever things went wrong, give him power but no response? I mean, give him no response. What is the word? Don't give him the power, just give him a tag. That's
No,
all.
I don't think so. Because why would the Congress look for a fall guy
So
when
the
it
fact of the Gandhis being the fall guys all the time.
no, no, when the party itself is concerned at its highest level on the need to change? Yes, there could be a scenario where Prashant Kishor joined the Congress. This particular interaction had led to some agreement where he joined the party and worked for it. You could make an argument that in that eventuality, if things did not turn out as per the expectations of some people in the Congress, then fingers could be pointed as Prashant Kishore as the fall guy. At this moment, and for that process which unfolded before us, I don't think the Congress went through hours after hours every day in full media glare to try and see what needs to be done to change and revitalize the party. Did it just to find a fall guy? It doesn't stand to reason.
Then again, Prashant Kishor said, and he said it publicly also, that he wanted the Congress president to be someone other than the Gandhis. Now you're going to the person to hire you, and your first thing is, I'm going to fire you, the person who's
I don't
hiring
know
me.
where, yeah, I don't know where you heard this.
He
At
himself has
least
said
I'm not
this. He
aware of
said,
it.
I have he didn't tell us who it is, which I was hoping you'll tell
No,
me
no,
who
but
that
he
is.
has never proposed this.
Yes,
You are looking at a leaked presentation, perhaps, I'm not sure, which was done more than a year ago, and a portion of it. I don't think he said that there should be a non Gandhi as a working president or a president. His principal focus was for to do those things which help to revive the Congress organization. And he did not go into the questions of who the Congress party wishes to be its leader.
So does this mean that Prashant Kishor's line of communication with the Congress is still open, and in his new avatar, he may do business with the Congress at some level?
You know, I speak for myself and my understanding of politics. See, in politics, normally, no door, I said this earlier somewhere, no door is forever open and no door is irrevocably closed. So, for the moment, both parties, with great civility, have parted, and we shall see what the future brings.
Can the future bring a breakup of the Congress with a lot of Congress leaders leaving to join Prashant Kishor if they feel he offers them a better chance?
I can't predict that at all. I mean, the Congress is the party, there are loyalists within the party. If they have faith in the party and its leadership, I'm sure they will remain with the party.
Last question. I've asked you this earlier, but was Rahul Gandhi against Prashant Kishor? You know the signs. He didn't attend the meeting. Manikam Tagore, his favorite aide, was the one of the first to tweet against the meeting with TRS. His departure was announced by Randeep Surjewala, a person that Prashant Kishor wanted to sack.
No, I don't, I can't comment on these details, but I know to the extent I know that Rahul Gandhi himself was fully on board on the question of Prashant Kishor's making the presentation for far reaching and radical change in the Congress. This is not true that he was opposed. Yes, he did leave to go abroad after the initial meeting, but that is his prerogative. And but before going, he had fully committed himself to this process.
Now I'm really stretching the imagination, but do you see 2024 being Narendra Modi versus Prashant Kishor in some way? Who do you see the battle of 2024 being?
I know what Prashant would have said in response to this question. मैं तो बहुत छोटा सा आदमी हूँ, मैं कहाँ नरेंद्र मोदी जी. तो मैं नहीं समझता कि that we should look at it in this kind of binary which is entirely imaginative and speculative. Narendra Modi ji is a tall leader, the Prime Minister of the country, the leader of an already well-established national party.
But nothing is permanent, Pavan, as you said yourself.
This I will agree with you that in politics, nothing is permanent, and politics is a dynamic process which teaches you how the high can be low and the low can be high. It's the people who decide. And as it so happens, Prashant Kishor has now publicly said he is going to the real masters, the people.
On that note, Pavan Varma, thank you so much for joining us. Coming first to NewsX soon after Prashant Kishor's latest sensational tweet as to where he is headed next. There are going to be a lot of debates on this, so we are very happy to have you here first with us to explain what is happening over there. Thank you.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.